Hello and welcome back to another episode of Tyler's Tiger Talk. We're 2 days away from LSU versus Alabama in Tuscaloosa. I'm excited for this game. Like I said, I'm going to this game. And this video is going to focus on the defense, LSU's defense. But before I get into that, I want to talk about the college football rankings that came out. So LSU is ranked 14th. And which I usually don't care about the college football rankings, especially this early. It's more of a like, here we go, we're releasing some rankings more for the public eye than anything, get views, whatever. I never pay attention to the college football rankings this early ever. It has LSU at 14, and I don't really care. The thing that bugs me the most is Missouri is ranked number 12. Now, yes, Missouri's a one-loss team. They're one loss to LSU, but that just confuses me right there. If you're already putting Missouri ranked above LSU now, it concerns me for the future. Because say LSU does go into Tuscaloosa, beats Alabama in a convincing fashion, wins out, goes to the SEC championship and beats Georgia, and they're a two-loss team, SEC champion, beat Alabama, beat Georgia. How will they be ranked then? How will the college football committee decide where LSU needs to be ranked then if they're already ranking the best offense in the country, the best quarterback in the country, some of the best receivers in the country, and they're ranking LSU at 14 below a team they've beaten? Yes, they're a one-loss team, but still, it just doesn't make much sense to me, and it scares me for the future, because if LSU wins the rest of the season, wins the SEC championship, how will that be factored by the college football committee if they're already ranking LSU low now? But like I said, the rankings don't matter to me that much. And the college football committee might be taking into factor LSU has to go into Alabama Saturday, and they might lose, and it's definitely a possibility that they can lose. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that and bring that up because that's pretty recent. Those rankings just came out. But getting into the defense, and this video is going to focus on the defense. I'll either have a video tomorrow or Friday, kind of like I did. It's like I said, Monday I was going to have a video Tuesday or Wednesday, and making a video Wednesday today. So I'll either have a video tomorrow or Friday talking more about the offense and more of the game as a whole. But today, since the defense is such a question, I want to get into the defense because I think that's an area of focus for most people, especially if you're an LSU fan. You're wanting to know what the hell is our defense going to do. And I was watching a Greg Penn, his, what do you call it? They were interviewing Greg Penn the other day after his press conference. It was the press conference after practice or whatever. It was Greg Penn. He was talking about the defense. They asked him a couple questions about the secondary. And one thing he said is he had faith in these freshmen that are coming in to play DB. Players that don't have a lot of experience. And they're going into Tuscaloosa, a very hostile environment, one of the best teams in the country, and they're being asked to, Alabama might not have the best wide receivers that they usually have, but it's still an ask and a tough ask to go in and telling these guys that you have to guard Alabama's receivers at Alabama and you're starting. Right, it's a tough ask, but Greg Penn, it's a reassurance to me and reassurance to all LSU fans that Greg Penn has confidence in these guys, and he's mentoring these guys, and I'm glad he was well spoken. When you're 18, 19, 20, whatever, it takes a lot to be well spoken in media. Like, right, you're just getting into media. You're coming out of high school, and you have to talk. Greg Penn's a veteran, but still, it takes a while to get good at talking to the media, and he looked so confident. He chose his words wisely. he was very put together in that press conference, and he sounded very confident that, hey, listen, this defense is coming in, and we're going to do something we haven't done yet this season. Play really good defense, and you might say, oh, well, they play good defense of Army or Auburn, but it's Army and Auburn, right? So I'm not going to dive into that, but it's Army and Auburn. But Greg Penn, he's mentoring those guys that are, even though they play different position than he's a linebacker. They're DBs, cornerbacks. I mean, he's mentoring them. He's giving them confidence. I think. Listen, you get 2 weeks. These guys get 2 weeks of rest, or got 2 weeks of rest, and had to go up against Jaden Daniels in that offense. And the best way to learn, even though it might not help, and I mentioned this in my video Monday, it might not help tremendously, but these cornerbacks for the past 2 weeks, you get an extra week, for the past 2 weeks have gotten to be able to play against Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors and Kyron Lacey and Brian Thomas Jr. And that's good practice, very good practice, to be able to go up against those guys. And it helps you. And, if you can guard Brian Thomas Jr. or Malik Neighbors, what's stopping you from being able to guard Jermaine Burton or Isaiah Bonds or one of those guys? So that's something I found interesting today. Usually I focus on, Brian Kelly's press conference, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to watch Greg Penn and see what he has to say, and he had to say a lot, and it was very well spoken. So yeah, but I mean, the emphasis is on LSU's defensive backs and what they can do, and Milroe has struggled throughout the year. They have. If I pull up their scores right now for each game, if I pull up Alabama schedule, let's see. Sorry, but Alabama just hasn't been able to score that much. They don't have a really great red zone offense. They just haven't been able to score. They scored against Mississippi State, but that's Mississippi State. Only scored 24 against Ole Miss, 26 against A&M, 24 against Arkansas. So, yes, those teams have better defenses. Ole Miss has a better defense. Arkansas has a better defense, but Alabama just hasn't been able to, move the ball in short yards positions. Yes, Milroe can throw bombs. You've seen it. He can throw bombs. I'm not saying he can't. But can he drive the ball effectively downfield over and over and over again? In my opinion, Jackson Dart's a better quarterback than Milroe is, and he was able to do that against LSU. But that was, a few weeks ago that Ole Miss played LSU. That was, in the past. It might be 4 or 5 weeks, but these weeks, a team can change in a week or two. They can completely change in a week or two. So this defense for LSU has gotten better. They've struggled, but they have gotten better. And Alabama, their offense has gotten better, but they're still struggled to move the ball downfield effectively. Yes, there's bombs here and there, but if LSU can effectively stop those deep yardage plays, if those safeties, Andre Sam and Major Burns, are back there for the big plays, then you're forcing Milroe to move the ball downfield in short yards positions. It's been annoying, right? LSU has had to play off the ball a lot because the defense have struggled. They've had to play, 5-7 yards downfield. The cornerbacks have, but if you make Milroe have to push the ball downfield in short yards positions, he might get really good at it, and he might have gotten really good at it over the past couple weeks in the bye week. but he hasn't been good at it this whole season. So that's something usually takes a while to develop. So it's unlikely that he developed, the skill to make better short yard and medium passing over a bye week. There's only so much you can do during bye weeks, and I just don't have the confidence that Jalen Miller just he's gotten a little better maybe, but I think he's still going to struggle with pushing the ball downfield in short yards position. He can throw those bombs all he wants, but if he can't push the ball down in short yard positions or medium passing, Alabama's not going to win this football game. And if LSU can capitalize on that, you saw it with Missouri and towards the end of the game versus LSU, and in part of the beginning of the game when Harold Perkins had that interception is what's his name? Brady Cooks was trying to pass the ball downfield to Blue Burton, and he was successful in those long passes, and then Harold Perkins, they made he made that interception against the Bird. He fake blitz, came back, and intercepted it. And Missouri was doing those short passes, and LSU finally caught on to the short pass with Bird and picked it off. That was a huge play. If LSU can do something like that again, whether it's Harold Perkins, whoever's in coverage, that'd be huge for LSU. LSU needs as many turnovers as they can get, and Alabama has turned over the ball a good bit this season, and Milroe has gotten sacked a good bit this season. Another thing I want to talk about is LSU's D-line. Obviously you're going to be missing Mekhi Wingo. Jordan Jefferson is going to have to step up, and he's been a very good this year. Jordan Jefferson has. I don't have his stats in front of me right now, but he's had a few sacks, a few tackles for losses. If LSU can put him in at Mekhi Wingo's spot, and he's effective there, that's a plus. If he can be there, stop the run along with Mason Smith, LSU has to use what they're good at, and the D-line is the best part of your defense, so use that. If you can sack Milroe a couple times, force Alabama to convert, and whether it's 3rd and 15 or 2nd and 20 or whatever, force them to have to make big plays. Force Milroe to have to make big plays, because if you look at this, if you say which quarterback is national championship material, and I think everyone and their mom would say Jaden Daniels in this contest is national championship material for quarterback, not Milroe. Milroe might have his year next year, but this is not his year. As scary as LSU's defense is, I'm so glad we're going up against a Milroe. I think if this was Jackson Dart again, I'd even go for Ole Miss more. Like, if we had to face Ole Miss again, I'd be more scared of facing Ole Miss again than Alabama, because Jackson Dart's a better quarterback. He's more developed. He knows his system more. Milroe doesn't as much, and that's a good thing going for LSU. Not that Alabama obviously can't still win this football game. They're the favorite, but still, it implements some confidence in saying Milroe hasn't been the best this season, and the offensive line for Alabama hasn't been the best this season. And if LSU's D-line can step up, LSU can win this football game. LSU's defense needs to make big plays, because as good as the offense is, Alabama's defense is going to make some stops. They are. Whether it's LSU receiving the ball and LSU having to drive downfield the first drive of the game and getting stopped, stuff like that's going to happen. Now, I don't think that's going to happen the first drive, because I believe LSU is going to have a really good first drive. They're going to probably show some stuff they haven't so far this season, and kind of like they did against Florida State when they had that big, good first drive against Florida State in the first game of the season. I feel like it's gonna be something like that. They're gonna show stuff they haven't shown, and but to go into the defense, the D line, Harold Perkins blitzing, whatever you have to do to show your effectiveness in the defense. LSU's their defense is gonna have to show some stuff they haven't so far this season, and capitalize on the stuff they've done good this season. And it's not just being able to guard defensive back; it's tackling, making sure Milroe doesn't get out of his lane, because LSU's been bad about that. Whether it's Swinson off the edge trying to make a spin move and giving Jackson Dart or whoever it is a lane to run around. LSU needs to make sure they contain the QB. The QB needs to be contained because Jalen Milroe has not run that much this year, barely any, but he can run. And Alabama's going to do stuff that they haven't this season yet, because this is a big matchup. Each team's going to do something that each team hasn't seen yet. And I wouldn't be surprised if Milroe runs some, because against LSU, when the quarterback runs, it usually works. Now, having Harold Perkins obviously is going to stop that some, but the quarterbacks that LSU have faced when they go on the run has had some success. So let's hope LSU can stop that on Saturday. I'm trying to think what else I wanted to talk about this video. I talked as much as I about the DBs. I think I kind of playing back. As much as that frustrates LSU fans, it's something you're gonna have to do. Force Milroe to make short yardage throws, accurate throws. When you're making medium to short passes, your throws have to be accurate, very accurate. Whether it's throwing the ball down, where the defender can't get it to your receiver, whatever. Against Tennessee, there was not really one effective receiver. You could say that there was against Tennessee, in the Alabama-Tennessee game. The ball was spread out a lot. So as good as Jermaine Burton is, he's no Brian Thomas Jr., he's no Malik Neighbors. He's more close to skill as Kyron Lacey, and that's our third string receiver. So our wide receiver 3. So you got that going for you. So if you're an LSU fan, you got Milroe, right? He's gotten better throughout the season, but he still isn't that guy right now. Oh, we'll wait and see next season, but he isn't that guy. Alabama's best receiver, Jermaine Burton, really hasn't been that great. I mean, he's been their guy, but he hasn't been their Malik Neighbors or Brian Thomas Jr. So you got that. You got LSU, Brian Kelly, like I said, Greg Penn, like I talked about in the beginning of the video, that have infused so much confidence into this defense and readiness going into Saturday, right? I think LSU, I'm not going to give my prediction yet, but the things I talked about in this video, if LSU can do, they win the game easily. The offense is number one. LSU has the number one offense in college football. And it's still worried until LSU really beats Alabama and shows the effectiveness on offense against Alabama. I'm still scared about the offense. I guess I just have trauma, if you want to call it, from or PTSD from last year when LSU's offense would do really good, then they would do really bad, then they would do really good, then they would do really bad. They've done really good all season, but yet, I still continue to have a little faith in the number one offense in the nation still. It still scares me. I want to say Jane Daniels goes into Tuscaloosa and dominates, but I'm still scared. I'm not going to lie. But let's hope that the offense does. But LSU has been has had to win some shootouts this season. I don't think Milroe can win a shootout at all. The guy passed 14 times against Tennessee. I don't think he can win a shootout. He doesn't have that many passing. It's his bombs that allow him to have, yards per gain, the touchdown he has. It's his throwing ability downfield. And if LSU can get pressure and shut that down and not allow him to throw the ball deep downfield, then LSU wins, because LSU's going to have to play with two safeties every now and then and make sure contain deep downfield. But I do believe Andre Sam has gotten so much better at coverage. Major Burns has been your best safety, has been one of your best coverage guys downfield. They can guard. They've gotten better. They've had 2 weeks to get better. The likeliness that Milroe has gotten better that much better in 2 weeks than LSU's defense could have gotten in 2 weeks. I'd rather take LSU's defense has gotten much better in 2 weeks than Milroe has gotten better in 2 weeks, because it takes a while. Milroe might be that guy next year, like Jaden is this year. It takes a year, a process, especially with Reese coming in and implementing his offensive game plan. It just takes a little bit. I'm excited for this game. I hope I, put some confidence into you if you're an LSU fan on the defense. Talking about this defense, because I've had my doubts. But I'm starting to get more confident about this game and LSU's chances. Because last week, if you would have asked me, I would have told you Alabama. Now I'm more 50-50 on it, but I'm getting more confident. Hey, like I continue to say, LSU controls their own destiny. If you beat Alabama, I don't know how you can't beat Georgia, because Georgia's a good team, but Alabama's also a really good team. So if you beat Alabama, you can beat teams like Georgia later on, and obviously beat Florida or Texas A&M. Not to say if you beat Alabama, you can't lose to Texas A&M, because you did that last year, but it implements more confidence. So I'm excited for the rest of the season. Like I said, I'll be going to the game. I might make a little video on the way there. I'm leaving Saturday morning. And I've never been to an official away game, so I'm excited about this. Like I said, I hope I pumped you up a little bit more about this defense. Obviously, it still might be a struggle. I'm not saying LSU's defense is going to go in and surprise anyone. I'd be very glad if they did, but that's that for this video. So leave a like, leave a comment, please, if you're an LSU fan, Alabama fan, college football fan. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think about this game. If you have any questions, ask me some questions in the comments down below. Love answering those. But yeah. Leave a like, consider subscribing, and as always, go Tigers.